in seconds, I felt like I was going around in a sliding glass doors, revolving glass doors, okay, around and around and around, and hearing a strange musical sound. He had that experience too. And then suddenly I came to a barrier. And I knew if I went past that barrier, I would be dead. And at that time, I had a short life review. And of course, it was short. I was only 8 years old.
Right.
But my life review was about my mom and how she doted on both my brother and myself. And I knew if I died, she would be devastated. And I was in a panic mode. I can't die. I can't die for her. Suddenly, I shoot up above the clouds. The panic is gone. I'm just floating among the clouds very peacefully. And noticed above me were 3 giant beings in a row with glowing white robes.
Thanks for watching the Near Death Network here on YouTube. My name is Mark Lewis. I thank you for watching our videos, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And as always, leave us your comments. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of What's Death Got to Do With It here on the Near Death Network. My name is Mark Lewis, the founder and creator of the Near Death Network. What we do here is we examine the near-death experience, spiritually transformative experience, with people who have experienced clinical death and come back and talked about what they experienced on the other side. And also with clinicians and academicians who are working in this field, essentially to redefine consciousness as not the end of everything, as we assume death is in a lot of our cultures here on this planet at this time. However, it's an extension of consciousness, that it's just another stage, another step, and that to demystify death, as it were. So bringing in now my guest for today's podcast, longtime friend and a wonderful academician and clinician and experiencer. You check all the boxes, Lynne. Thank you for coming on today, Dr. Lynne Kitei. How are you doing these days in terms of, you got a lot of stuff going on always?
Yes, the Phoenix Lights mass sighting, of which I'm a key witness, which has become the most witnessed, most documented, most important mass anomalous sighting in modern history, if not all of history, kind of fell in my own lap. And if anybody's interested, just go to the Phoenix Lights Network website. There's lots to explore and consider, as there is today, to consider the fact that a number of people, by the way, who had an experience with the Phoenix Lights in 1997, as I was investigating meticulously to find a logical explanation, which I have yet to find 30 years later, had near-death experiences as children that was reawakened by the mass sighting. And that really hit me hard because I did too. And I never told a soul about it, but it followed me from the time I was 8 years old. And I actually saw the Phoenix Lights initially the eve of my birthday, my 48th birthday, right outside our bedroom window 2 years before the mass sighting, and got pictures. I'm the only one with 35mm photographs of these anomalous aerial phenomena that now are famous worldwide. And again, if you look on the photo page, I have a unique collection of these. But what really got me was how it touched people so deeply and woke people up, not only to their presence, but also to the experience they had as children, as I did, of near death. And I'm doing a scientific study right now that's confirming that people worldwide that have experiences with these anomalous phenomena, also many of them have out-of-body experiences as well as near-death experiences. I started calling them all an unexplained phenomena, UP, and I found the connection. Half my book is about the connection between all unexplained phenomena. So there is so much to talk about, and also the reality that many people have had near-death experiences and come back to talk about it, like myself.
Well, and that just shows that there is a blending of those phenomenon. What is the linchpin? What is the tie? And for people who don't know, as Lynne articulated, the Phoenix Lights was in March of 1997. as she said, anomalous activity here documented by Lynne from her porch with a 35 millimeter. So it's irrefutable. She's got the evidence to support it. At the same time, it happened to where it was explained away by conventional authorities as flares. Well, if you know what a flare is, you know that that isn't what happened here. And Lynne courageously, as a medical doctor at the time, put that aside. And I know you and I visited, but I said, when and this is time I didn't even know that you had the near-death experience. So we talked about the fact you're going to have to be beyond reproach, because when you get into the UAPs or the UFO phenomena, there's so many fringe elements, so many people don't understand what is the purpose, and or there's a lot of disinformation out there. So you had to deal with and ferret through all of your information and your pictures, and you did a meticulous job of putting your book together. I would recommend anyone who has an opportunity to read both of your books, because you amended it and put out a new edition in 2017. Three editions. Wow.
Exactly.
See, so
because the story keeps unfolding,
evolving.
and you and I met when I was doing news reporting, and
right.
certainly, very mindful of documentation, and you were one of my most ardent supporters to get this out there, not only to set the record straight, but to let people know that they're not alone. And that's the same with near-death experience. They're not alone. There are so many people that have had these experiences, and it's really important to get it out in the open. It's cathartic. It's healing to
Right.
get it out in the open. And of course, there's, everybody comes from a different background, different upbringing, different belief systems. Some people can't deal with this topic. Some people don't want to, and that's okay. Everyone in their own time. But I applaud you for doing this program and letting people know that there's many, many others out there that have had these experiences that are real to them. And most anomalies can be explained, I must say
Right.
that. But even though it's a small amount, when people have a true, what I call an unexplained phenomena experience, whether it's near-death experience, out of body, or unexplained aerial phenomena with a mystical light associated with the experience, it's real to them. So it's important to get it out in the open, address it, accept it, and study it, so we can find out
Absolutely.
what's behind this and the true data.
And let's circle back, because the nexus point of this network is the near-death experience. So let's go back to when you were 8 years old, and you were at the dentist, I believe, and had an interaction that you left the body at that time. Can you tell folks what happened then?
Absolutely. At 8 years old, and I was very naive. I was in professional musical theater. My whole life was surrounded around singing and dancing, and would
Well,
not have
you're
had
8,
any.
Lynn. You're supposed to be naive.
Well, I was. I truly was. And our house was just a very open house. We had there wasn't religion. We lived in a neighborhood with lots of different thoughts and what processes, but it wasn't anything that was really in my lap at the time. I was really naive and very sheltered. And I was at a dentist's office, and ironically, um, 2 years after the mass sighting, which really confirmed for me that this was really, really real, even though I came back knowing that this was real as I'm talking to you now. There was a 60-minute show that the whole hour was about how anesthetic in a dentist's office can really damage children and even cause death. And anyway, go back to 1956. I had a mask put on me, which could have very easily been ether, which could have been very lethal at the time. But at any rate, and this is what's amazing about this, is that once I started hearing stories from other people, it was so similar. There's an MD that's working with me on this study who saw the Phoenix lights craft. It wasn't just lights; they were craft. There's much more to the story right over their car. And he had a childhood near-death experience as well.
Mm.
And when we started talking about it, it was like, whoa, I mean, that's so similar, because in seconds, I felt like I was going around in a sliding glass doors, revolving glass doors, okay? around and around and around and hearing a strange musical sound. He had that experience too. And then suddenly I came to a barrier. And I knew if I went past that barrier, I would be dead. And at that time, I had a short life review. And of course, it was short. I was only 8 years old.
Right.
But my life review was about my mom and how she doted on both my brother and myself. And I knew if I died, she would be devastated. And I was in a panic mode. I can't die. I can't die for her. Suddenly, I shoot up above the clouds. The panic is gone. I'm just floating among the clouds very peacefully. And noticed above me were three giant beings in a row with glowing white robes. And they had hoods over their heads. And I even tried to look to see their faces, but I couldn't see their faces because the hoods were covering their faces. But I felt their unconditional love for me. They knew who I was. It was very odd, but I just felt that connection with them. And it looked like they were looking down on Earth. And so I turned my head, and it seemed like I had a telescope, a powerful telescope, looking down on Earth, seeing people do what they do of the day. There was a milkman that was going from his truck to the door and greeting the little kid there, delivering milk. There was children going to school and hopping over hopscotch, and other ones were drawing it with chalk on the sidewalk. There was a man that was actually hurling his day. He was opening up his store and putting out a sign that it was open for the day. But what really got me, besides observing all this, was that I knew what was going to come next. And I thought, how would I know what's going to come next? And again, very naive. There's no way this thought would ever enter my head. But suddenly I was thinking, well, wait a minute. If I know what's going to come next, does that mean that we don't have control over what comes before us? That we're destined to have certain things happen or meet certain people? And then I thought, well, wait a minute. We may not have control over what comes before us, but we do have control over what we do with that situation, if we take advantage of that opportunity or not, how we treat that person or that animal that we come on. I mean, if we yell for some reason, if we're nasty to somebody, we see that it's a ripple effect that then they go because whether they're hurt or they're angry, they let it out on someone else, whether it's their spouse or their child. And I mean, all these thoughts are going through my head that, oh my goodness, does that mean that we may not have control of what happens before us, but we do have control on what we do with that situation? And then I thought, well, wait a minute. If these beings, and we hear about the watchers, which popped into my head at 8 years old, if they're watching human beings and giving us a stimulus and watching what our reaction is, does that mean that human beings are but an experiment? And with that thought, a magnanimous male voice said, it's not your time. It's not your time. You have to go back. There's a reason you have to go back. And suddenly I was back in my body. The nurse and the doctor, the oral surgeon were running around. You okay? Are you okay? They had my legs up so that blood goes to your brain. And they never said that anything happened, but I knew that it did. Okay. And they were very anxious. Are you okay? Are you okay? Never said a word to anyone. But for weeks after, it was so real to me that I would go out to a park that was like 3-4 blocks away from our home and look up at the sky for days, every day, looking for those beings who I never saw. But I have felt that they have been with me ever since as my guides. And I just began talking about this. I mean, it sounds out there, but it's true. I mean, it is what it is.
What
And go ahead.
do you think, real quickly, because it sounds a lot like the prototypical life review, and then you're interacting with angels or guides, or in this case, perhaps watchers, whatever the acronym is, it's irrelevant. It's somebody who's dutifully stewarding us through this experience here on this planet, and helping us, find our path, our true path. Because it occurred to me when we talked the other day that when you were said it's time to come back, and you had mentioned your mother, so that's certainly a predominant feeling for you, for a child, for their mother, especially at 8 years old. But do you feel that one of the reasons you may have come back is to be one of the leaders, the thought leaders in the UFO, UAP world, as somebody who has credentials? Did that thought cross your mind at 8?
Not
Probably
then,
not. Yeah, but maybe
but I
later.
thought that, yeah,
Sure.
I have to say that for years I was looking for the reason that I came back. And my brother and I were dancers, dancing humans on television every Sunday, and we did some professional theater as well. And suddenly I had this magnanimous, amazing 3-octave colloquial voice that I even started lessons very young with the head of the music department at Temple University, Dr. Robert Page. And that's why I thought I came back, to give people joy from my voice, that it was a gift that was given to me. I really thought that. And when you fast forward, and what's interesting is that for years, until the mass sighting, until the Phoenix Lights, I thought that these beings that have been with me, and when I come to a crossroads, I don't hear voices, but I do meditation and I ask for guidance, and I get a feeling about doing something, an impetus or vibrations or whatever. And I go for it. It always takes me to a good place. And I could give you so many examples throughout my life. So I really trusted in the guidance, but I always thought that it was spirit world until the Phoenix Lights. Now I don't know who they were, to tell you the truth. But what's interesting, and bring my mother into this whole thing, is that uh, as far as the Phoenix Lights, and feeling that maybe, I've been asked with the 3 lights, because when you go into the data, I deal with the data, in 95, 2 years before the mass sighting, right outside our bedroom window, the eve of my birthday, there were 3 amber orbs in a pyramid formation. And I got 35mm photographs of them while they were cloaking right in front of us. I have been asked, do I think that those 3 orbs are related to the 3 beings that
Interesting.
I met in my near-death experience? And I have been asked that numerous times. I don't know. I'm a healthy skeptic. I don't know. But I must say that, for whatever reason, even doing the Phoenix Lights, I asked for guidance, because I didn't want to do that. It was so precarious for a doctor to come
Right.
forward. And
Right.
here I have all this data. Plus, I felt compelled to push my medical career aside for 7 years, Mark, to find a logical explanation. And the more I looked, the more I found such credible data, including near-death experience data, that seemed so important to me, that ultimately I had a 750-page journal that I squeezed down to the first book, which was 230 pages, and came forward in 2004 to reveal, what I had learned. And, it's packed with information, including the pictures that I continue taking of these phenomena. And certainly I'm wondering why, why do I have this data? But as an educator of vital health issues, by the way, and that's, I even started in 76 at the NBC affiliate in Philadelphia doing health tips, and a syndication grew from that was showing in Phoenix when we moved here in 1980, and then started doing health tips at the NBC affiliate here where I met you,
Yeah.
lucky enough. And and then started a company that has a video and workbook curriculums on vital health issues for schools internationally. And when this fell in my lap, it's like, how can I stick this in a drawer as an educator of vital
Right.
health issues? How can I not share this vital issue? So just bringing my mom in briefly, if anybody does get the book, or it's on Amazon The ebook is terrific because it has color pictures and live links. So if you'd like to go off
Yeah,
and
we'll put all the
understand
information in our show link so people
near
can
death
go to your
death
site
experience,
and yeah.
but our older son, who was the skeptic of the family, took a picture, and this did it for me. I have to tell you, Mark. So I want to just share this since you brought up my mom. She passed in 2000, and 10 years later, our son took a picture. She came through, and I'm spoiling it, a little spoiler here, but the picture speaks for itself. She came through as clear as can be. I mean, you can see her arm and holding a kitten that our son just got. And she had crippling juvenile arthritis. She went through nursing school in a wheelchair and became head nurse of the preemie nursery at Einstein Hospital. And I found a picture of her holding a preemie baby when she was in her 40s, 30s or 40s, almost the same way. She came through 10 years after she passed to let him know that she was with him and to say, Lynn, get off your butt. This is real. You have to share this. So, that tied everything together for me, even though I was finding a connection between all unexplained phenomena. If people knew, and we talked about this the other day too, if people knew that we do go on, the essence of who we are does go on after we pass. And there's other indications that happen to me along the way with the Phoenix Lights that prove to me personally that the essence of who we are does go on. Hopefully, people would take stock in what they do in their
Right.
lifetime,
Well, I
how they
agree with
treat
you.
people and opportunities and all
Yes.
that, so that, not only will it affect them personally, selfishly, but also if people started finding goodness, and that's another thing I came back with, is there is goodness in everyone, and to look for the goodness and to actually, and again, some people might think this is way out there, but it's not love and knowledge. And we have Bruce Grayson, Dr. Bruce Grayson, we have other, Dr.
Sam
Raymond Moody,
Parnia,
um,
Raymond Moody, Kenneth
right,
Ring. I mean,
right. Love and knowledge are the only things we take with us.
well, there's a lot
So
to
think about
unpack
that.
here. You've covered so many bases. I don't even know where to begin, but I'm going to begin here because we're talking about the near-death experience. And when you had this revelation to go back to that 8-year-old child and then see, oh, okay, this is how it all unfolded. I didn't know it would unfold this way. It proved to you beyond the shadow of a doubt that the essence of us collectively, with all your aggregate experiences as you move forward, is real. But I had a discussion with a friend of mine last night who clinically died recently for 2 minutes. He didn't have a near-death experience. And his question was, I didn't have it, so it can't be real. How do we answer the people who have clinically passed, don't have a replication of what you had, or so many people who have had near-death experiences? How does, from your purview as a doctor and an experiencer, how do some people not experience this? What is the key ingredient to experiences? Is you have to be open, or what in your mind's eye separates the individual who experiences a near-death experience and those who don't?
Well, any unexplained experience, anomalous experience, if you close your mind off to it, you're closing your mind and your existence off to so much more wondrous possibilities out there. That's the first step, is to open your mind and your heart to what's out there. Once you do that, it's amazing how serendipities come before you. And I always say that a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. It's an anonymous gift from beyond when you do have serendipities. But once you do open your mind and your heart, and I do give 10 ways in my book, by the way, to connect to these other phenomena and to have that awakening and that positive transformation. When I came back with 3 A's, okay? Awareness, and anybody can do this, by the way, okay, right now, of what's before you, the people you meet, the family that you have, the opportunities that you have, even daily living. what you come across. You smile at other people. It's amazing when you smile at other people, strangers, they smile back. And there's an energy there. There's a positive energy there. Number one is awareness of what's happening in your life and what's around you. Attitude. Positive and negative attitudes are so important. I've seen it in medicine. I've seen people like my mother. She had colon cancer and was given 7 years. I mean, she was given 6 months, excuse me. It was the early 80s, at her visualized Pac-Man eating up the cancer cells, and she got medical treatment. She survived for 7 years after. So they gave her 6 months. Okay, with the positive thinking and positive energies, you bring them towards you. And it's the same with negative. There are negative energies out there. I really do believe positive and negative energies out there. And I've seen it in medicine. I've seen patients have such negative attitudes and they get sick all the time. I mean, their bodies are affected by their negativity. And then the third A is appreciation. Appreciation for what you're given. I mean, there's the old adage that, I'm crying because I don't have shoes until I see a man that doesn't have feet. Okay.
Right.
It can always be worse.
Right.
And to just appreciate, even during the day. I mean, I do this, okay, at night. I think about what I appreciated during that day, whether it's a beautiful sunset, which I collect, or a person that I met. So we're talking about awareness, attitude, and appreciation. And if you bring that to your life every single day, you're going to start having experiences that are positive, and that's your choice if you want to have that positive attitude or negative attitude. But I've seen it again for myself and in medicine that if you have that positive attitude, you're going to have positive things happen in your life. It's just amazing. And more people are admitting that happens to them as well. So, if that helps,
no, that's
anyone
perfect
out there that hasn't had an up experience yet, again, open mind, open heart, being open to the wondrous possibilities of the universe is the first step. And the 3 A's, attitude, awareness, attitude, and appreciation, will help.
Well, and I believe personally in the study that I've been in spiritually for the last 30 years that so much of what we do, our sense precedes us into the room. So it's the sense of, and it gets right back to your 3 A's, which is if you enter the room with those 3 A's, you're going to beam, you're going to radiate, you're going to resonate such positivity that you're going to attract those other individuals in the room. And that's a lot of what the life review, even albeit you were only 8, where you see the residual effects of your interaction with a friend on the playground, and you helped her up when she skinned her knee and everybody was making fun of her. And she went on to do great things because of that one act of kindness that we would consider benign, but it was really impactful. In contradistinction to that, if you cut somebody off in traffic and you flip them off, then you continue that pattern of resonance or frequency. You don't have to do that. You have to live mindfully. And I think, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Jeff O'Driscoll, but he's one of our panelists, great guy, ran the trauma center in Salt Lake at the major hospital there for many, many years, and now has his own spiritual counseling practice. But he says, and I think this is absolutely in concert with your 3 A's, that when he wakes up every day, he says, how can I serve? How can I go out there and serve? And it doesn't have to be building houses for Habitat for Humanity. That's great. Or like you said, you could go and smile and open a door for someone. You don't know how impactful that can be. We're reducing this to the lowest common denominator. So it doesn't need to be so intricate and intellectually driven to sit there and go, how come I didn't have a near-death experience? I clinically died. I didn't come back. Well, were you open to it? No, I don't believe we go on after death. Well, so then you get what you believe, right? I mean, it could be fundamentally that, but that's the beauty of consciousness. We have the ability to go right and then left. We have the autonomy and sovereignty to make decisions for ourselves. And then, like you had mentioned earlier, the ripple effect of those decisions is very impactful, both to the positive and the negative. And so we just try to get the 51-49 during the day, 51% positive, and maybe we had 49%, but you win the day. You don't have to get to 80-20. You should aspire to get to 80-20 or 90-10 or 95-5. But I think those 3A's are very important. We typically reserve that for the end of the show, and maybe we'll come back to it because I think they're very, very practical applications of what you've gleaned and your body of work over your lifetime. So thank you for that.
Well, also, everyone, including myself, have bad days. I mean, there's
Right.
things that happen that are wonderful and that affect us very deeply. And first of all, if you keep feeding into it, it's only going to get worse. That's number one. Number two, I've always felt that even when something negative happened, that something good would come from it, that you would learn from it. And I do want to add that and one of the other things that happened to me with the Phoenix Lights is that which really tied all this together, if I can read it, is it's really heavy because something happened a month after the mass sighting. And we're talking over 10 to 20,000 people, and it's not just Arizona. We're talking at least 4 states. We're talking at least, a number of different anomalies, these orbs information, as well as mile to 8-mile wide craft. I mean, there's so much to the story, but be that as it may, a lot has come out. That's why I've written more books, more additions to the book. And the original book is there. But originally, they did not want me to put that picture of my mom in the first book because they thought it would confuse people. And I said, no, it ties everything together. So now it's in there if anybody wants to look. But also, one of the most poignant things that happened to me is that after I had a very heavy dream, I'll let people, read it for themselves. What I thought was a dream, and actually was sucked out of my body as after I asked for guidance and asked if I should be doing this and lend my expertise to make it professional and credible and give me a sign. And boy, did I get a sign. Literally sucked out of my body and enveloped in a kaleidoscope of white light that was so euphoric, and it was an amazing experience. And a week later, my husband had a similar experience that just blew me away in the middle of the night. And thoughts just filled my brain that were so foreign to me that I went downstairs in the dark. I picked up a paper in the study and started writing. And some people would call it automatic writing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very profound. I have not changed a word of this. Would you like me to read it for your
Sure.
viewers?
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know about other living creatures in this vast universe, but questions keep permeating my mind about the ones who are trying to get our attention now. What if these beings are as advanced spiritually as they are technologically? What if they want to share this beautiful and wondrous future with us? And what if they have already met our spirit world and know firsthand that the essence of who we are is pure? They may only be trying to help us recognize the positive spirit deep within and teach us to know ourselves for who we really are before we destroy our world. Each and every one of us is a powerful being with the strength and wisdom to deeply appreciate our earth and every living creature on it. It is time we view ourselves in a new light. This can begin by searching within ourselves to find goodness and love, so that the consciousness of humankind can elevate spiritually above petty differences, envy, greed, lies, hatred, abuse, violence, and fear. That is our destiny, but only if each one of us chooses to look within our own soul for the answers. They are there. It isn't too late. Humankind can begin this very moment to learn and grow so that our future will benefit from our newfound knowledge, not be pulled down by our self-serving primal ignorance. It is so very important to look within yourself and to believe. Judge yourself each and every day. There will come a time when you will indeed judge every moment of your own life, the goodness, the bad, the kindness, and the wrath that you and you alone have brought to other human beings, to other living things, to our earth. You will feel what it felt like to be on the receiving end. Near-death experiences have told us time and time again that when we die, we go through a life review. God does not judge us. We judge ourselves. So maybe we should judge ourselves now. Think clearly about how we treat others, the energy and dedication we put into our relationships, especially our family, as well as our relationship to other living things we touch in this short but precious existence. So when our time does come, we won't have to endure pain and sadness, but rather we will be drenched in the ecstasy of our own love, in the magnificent light of love. And if each of us truly looks deep within, the positive energies emanating from the goodness each one of us possesses will be shared around the world. Then our beautiful journey to a new reality will have begun.
Wow, that is profound, and I think
That's
that
97. I wrote that in 97.
1997. Well, but if you look now, if you look at the state of the world just through the media's eyes, if you park yourself in front of the television every day, we're taping this the day after the woman was shot in Minneapolis, so that was very polarizing, and nothing's been adjudicated yet, but clearly there is a lot of strife on this planet now in terms of yin and yang. I'm on the right, you're on the left. The right hates the left hates the right. But as you said, if you reduce it to your familial environment and those in you encounter in a day, you can certainly make their days better. And ultimately, it's kind of self-serving, but not really. It makes your day better, right? So I always feel better when I help someone else out. And I know that is the caveat spiritually that we entered into to try and shepherd people with our independent talents in our areas to help collectively bring, the people on this planet at this time some more peace. So we could go on about this forever. How can people get a hold of you and or your periodicals, or watch you have a lot of great video essence as well? What is the best site for them to go to get more about what Dr. Lynne is about?
Yes, please go to the Phoenix. I've worked very hard, by the way,
Oh, I know you
to
have.
get everything gathered in one place for free, so people can go there if they choose and explore and learn. There's so much there, and consider at the Phoenix Lights Network website. If you Google Phoenix Lights Network, it should come up first. It's a popular site because there's a lot there. I mean, in the homepage, the news page, I have interviews that I did for Netflix and News Nation, and William Shatner, the History Channel, and Lawrence Fishburne, and a whole lot more little clips, which are terrific. Plus the photo page and the GAP page, the Spatial Animation Project, which shows the 10 different crafts that people saw, whether there was one craft that could morph, or the perspective from where the person was standing, or parade, which is ultimately what the investigators concluded, and a lot more. I mean, there is so much there. So please, and also if you're interested in reading the book, The Phoenix Lights, A Skeptic's Discovery That We Are Not Alone. I am a healthy skeptic. I got to see it to believe it. And I have photographs, 35 millimeter, that cannot be denied or explained by university and military optical experts. I've taken great lengths to have them explained to me. And of course, we now have whistleblowers and UFO congressional hearings, and they're showing things that are similar to the Phoenix Lights. And it's been established as a true mass sighting of anomalous aerial phenomena. And I also have a study, and anyone that's seen the Phoenix Lights or similar phenomena, these orbs, information, or actual craft, please go to the landing page. There's a triangle, and below that you can enter the website. And underneath that is a questionnaire. We've been doing this for 3.5 years, and we've come to some unbelievable conclusions. We'll be publishing that soon, and we're having peer review now at very scientific peer review entities that are lauding our scientific study, because I wanted to verify and quantify what I had learned from witnesses themselves and what I share in the book. But now we have a scientific study that really verifies and confirms the data. So there's a lot going on. I have to say that just to bring back what you were saying before, is that whatever entities there might be that want to divide us, everybody, everyone listening and out there wants the same thing. They want their health. They want their family to be healthy and happy. There are so many things that we have in common. And if we just focus on those things and also look for the goodness, hopefully we'll be able to make the world a better world. And that's why I came forward ultimately after 7 years of anonymity, to set the record straight, because there are a lot of mis and disinformation out there that people can learn about on the website and also in the book. And I also have a graphic novel activities coloring book that is amazing, 160 pages, filled with not only the story, it's the adventures of Sue FO, field observer, and Hugh, Hugh UFO. He's a little alien. I worked with a Disney illustrator and teachers, and we had pilot programs at schools, and we have 80 crop circles. We talk about crop circles, and sometimes these orbs are seen above crops, and suddenly there's a very intricate, complex crop circle. We have 80 crop circles to color, as well as I have activities, word finders, and crossword puzzles, and all kinds of fun stuff. And then we have the documentary, a real grassroots effort. This has all been out of my own heart and pocket, so that people can learn and grow if they choose. And that's won over a dozen international film festival awards. That's also available streaming on Amazon. So and all the links are on the homepage on the Phoenix Lights Network website. So perfect. I hope people will check it out and learn something that they didn't know before. And I'm available also. There's a contact at the top of the page that goes right to my email if you want to share. Again, sharing with one person, if you've had an experience, is cathartic. It's healing. And that's the other reason I came forward, to let people know they're not alone, that there's many people that have experienced these things, and that it really helps to share, even if it's one person. And I take confidentiality very seriously as a physician. So I hope people visit Phoenix Lights Network.
Well, and you've demonstrated so much courage over the years, and you and I have talked intermittently over the years, and we came to the same path ultimately. Took me a while to get here, but I think, it takes a village, and it takes a lot of us to be able to get on, the same page and to articulate. Some people require a lot of linear, statistical, borne out proof, like you were doing in your study, to really, extrapolate everyone's different opinions and then coalesce them in a very cogent form so they can go over the data and they can feel good about it. But we really applaud your courage to do what you've done, because it takes a lot of courage to be able to come forward in this topic, not only the UFO phenomena, but in the near-death phenomena, because a lot of people just think that death ends everything. I'm of the mind that death is just an extension of consciousness. It's a different state, it's a different resonance, it's a different frequency, and perhaps in our lifetimes here, we will be able to quantify that sufficiently that people can do what you said, which is be nice to one another, love one another, get past the differences, and focus on the similarities. So thank you so much for your time. I look forward to sharing an update with our audience when you get the study buttoned up and you're ready to release all the data. We look forward to that, Lynne. And thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me and doing what you're doing, because it is important just to get the information out there and let people decide for themselves. And if people pick up the book and look at the picture of my mom that came through 10 years after she passed, that did it for me. I don't care what anybody else says. That did it for me. And it brings everything together that we've talked about. So I hope that helps as well, take people to the next step of being open, to know that they do go on, and that what they do on this planet in their lifetime does matter for them and for humanity as well. So thank you so much for letting me share, and good luck with everything that you're doing, Mark. It's
Thank you
wonderful
very
that
much, Lynne.
you're doing this, and I know that you'll have a lot more people coming on board, because there's many people out there. And I'm finding that out in the study that have had near-death experiences and other paranormal experiences that, they're ready to share. They want to share so badly. We've had so many people thank us just for doing the study so they could share on there.
Exactly.
So good luck with everything that you're doing as well. And keep looking up. I always say that's a double
You bet.
entendre. Now everybody knows, keep looking up.